clown, Scott. We literally just swapped out season 1 Tisha for Kimmi. Because you didn't turn into the dumbest wife on reality TV. Or you neck and neck with Rashida. All of these seasons, Maurice made the storyline his son, you taking care of his son, all while neglecting your son and making him feel like he a stranger in his own house. Girl, I don't know. And then Marital wasn't on this episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. I guess they didn't drop that bald head inch. It was giving Homer Simpson, like walking out of the tree. Anyway, welcome back, friend. Happy Sunday. Exactly. It's my favorite day of the week. So, of course, we go talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville, child. This episode was a little better than last week's episode, but I'm not 100% sold. We'll see, child. But make sure y'all like the video. Make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to get to 17,000 by 7 o'clock. Nah, for real. And right, it's Sunday. It's a family day. Share me in the group chat with your friends so they can snickle and giggle. Before we talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville, though, we have to talk about Heart and Hustle Houston. Yes. So if you just here for Love and Marriage Huntsville, drop down in the comments. I'll put the timestamp. But I want to spend the first few minutes talking about Heart and Hustle Houston. So for those of y'all who don't know or didn't stick around, Heart and Hustle Houston came on right after Love and Marriage Huntsville. So it's on the OWN network as well. It's not produced by Carlos King. And of course, it's set in Houston. It's an ensemble cast, about 6 bossy, black girlies. So I really, really love this. Heart and Hustle reminded me of everything that Bell Collective could have been. Or that was the vision. Like the vision was these boss, successful girlies in a city. But this is set in Houston. And this gives me... So first of all, tell me if y'all watched it. Did you watch it, and what's your first impression? What would you give it? I'm letting y'all know right now. In case y'all didn't watch it, I'm finna give y'all a brief little synopsis of what's going on because I'm watching it. I'm tuned in. I watched it twice this morning. So it's set in Houston. We have the girlies. Latoria, she's a girl. She owns this new restaurant called Rain, and that's like the first scene or whatever. She also, when we went over to her house later on, she had like this icon of the year award. I said, okay, girl, exactly. Who else we have? We have Elena, who owns a spa, like the #1 spa in Houston. I looked it up. Great reviews. All of the girlies was talking about it. Labrina, she is... I didn't get what Labrina did, but her husband used to play for the NFL, and she lives on a ranch and rides horses. Her house is everything. Everything. I said, okay, girl. Then Munira is like, they call her the perfect girl. She's an electrical engineer. Y'all know as soon as I see electrical engineer, I was like, oh, God. And she talks about how she was the only black girl in her company, which I can identify with because working in construction, I'm always the only black girl in my company. Ain't nothing changed. Anyway, but she quit to become a content creator. We also get Chloe. I'm not sure exactly what Chloe, does, but she's like the wild card crazy one. And we get Rose. She's like a nightclub, nightlife girly. I think she's like a bottle girl, and then she's like a manager. I'm not sure. Anyway, but it's an eclectic group of ladies. So on the opening scene, we get them at that club Rain that the girl is opening. She's doing a soft launch, and she invited all of the ladies. So you can kind of tell that it's like it's like 2 friend groups coming together, and they, just trying to, get together. So they congratulating her on the opening of the restaurant. Elena, who is going to be one of the main focal points of the show, her and her husband are having marital problems. They've been together since junior high. But she's not really telling the girls what's going on. Now, Chloe across the table, the wild card girl, she gonna say, cause he ain't fine. And then everybody like, bitch, did you just say her husband wasn't fine? And she gonna ask her friend, she was like, girl, is so-and-so fine? And everybody was looking like, bitch, no, you didn't. No, you didn't just say this lady husband ain't fine in her face. And then they start talking about Chloe, because Chloe is 44 years old and she's dating a guy that's 17 years younger than her, almost the same age as her son. And we find out later her son live in a house with her. Her son is 24. And the dude she talking to, I think 27. So her son ain't talking to her, and her son got smoked with the young boy that she messing with. Exactly. So Elena got marital problems. I'm not sure what LaBreen's issue. I'm not sure what her whole storyline is gonna be, but she's trying to get Elena to open up about her marriage. So she's being forthcoming about her problems. She said she used to get cheated on when her husband was in the NFL, all kind of stuff. But it's funny because she's living the lifestyle of the, the wealthy. They did like a little pool scene. It was everything. Pool. It was a sharp difference between that date night that Maurice and Kimmi and them had outside of their house. It looked a little comfy and a little cozy, it was totally different from being over at LaBreen house though. It was so beautiful, y'all. It was so beautiful. What else really happened? That was kind of like the gist of it, what we got out of episode 1. But I'm impressed. The fashions were fashioning. I like the way LaBreen dressed. I like Maureen with her little prissy clothing. I liked everything. I liked the husbands. They had like a date night at LaBreen's house, and the husbands came. It was a 10 for a premiere episode of a show. This was a 10 out of 10 for me. It was giving the fabulosity that we wanted from Love and Marriage Huntsville and Bell Collective, and we didn't get it. And from the preview, from the trailer, it don't seem like it's gonna be a lot of deep, crazy drama. But I just love the fact that it's 6 successful sisters. They dressing, the lingo is up to date. They talking about relatable shit. Ro was talking about how she don't date short men. She 5'9". That's the same height as me. She was like, girl, if I could see down there, I'd be like, what's up, son? They started talking about Nigeria dating Chloe dated a Nigerian scammer. So I like that it's a bunch of relatable conversations, that you and your homegirl would have. Kudos, whoever the producer is of this, I got high hopes and kudos to you, baby. Exactly. It's refreshing. It's cute. It's giving girlfriends on steroids. Fast forward 2025. I'm excited. So in case y'all didn't watch it, I'm trying to tell you, friend, it's Sunday. I don't know what's going on there, but it's raining in Dallas. Go watch. Your best friend from St. Louis telling you, I think it's worth the watch. Heart and Hustle Houston, because I'm going to review it. I was more excited about Heart and Hustle Houston than Love and Marriage Huntsville, because I went back, watched the fashions, what the girls had going on, what Chloe gonna do about her son. Is Elena gonna end up divorcing him? And in order to be rich like LaBreen, do I have to deal with a man cheating on me, girl? I don't know. Anyway, tell me if y'all watched the show. Tell me what y'all thought. The show gets a 10 out of 10 for me. A++ tip. Exactly. So shout out to the girlies, a Heart and Hustle. Exactly. I might do it behind the, I probably do like a meet the cast type of video, so we can figure out like who these girlies are, not too deep in their business, but just, know a little bit more about the ladies. Because I just really think I'm just really here for this. I'm just really here for this show. It's really good. And I ain't putting too much dip on my chip, friend. Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about these Huntsville hoes. Dun, 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 dun. We done went from happy and good times and drinking champagne to drinking Coke 45 and Bessemer, waiting on Wanda to pull up with my Taco Bueno, girl. Anyway. Okay, so tell me if y'all like this episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Like I said, it was better than last episode. But right off the top of my head, I think the Maurice and Marsau storyline is totally made up. I think that they decided that's the storyline that they're going to go with, so they don't have to lean into the Harry Hines girl storyline, because they know that's what production, and that's why Miss Nell was sent to bring that shit up. Tisha was giving beautiful gowns. Teabaggers, come to the front. Now I'm going to drag her ass later on, so take the compliments while I'm giving them out. Latisha looked fuck good. She did. It was beautiful gowns. I love that black outfit, two-piece outfit she had on. I love that big hair she had on at dinner with the coat. But I always said Latisha was pretty. She get it wrong sometimes. Tisha usually get it wrong on the reunions. But throughout the season, okay, I'm going to give Latisha best dress and worst personality. Because she was so cringe through so many of these moments. And I'm sorry, you can dress a person up. But like I say this all of the time. How people be mad at the stars of the show. People hate Nene. They hate Portia. They hate Nell. At the end of the day, you either got it or you don't. Whether you plus, minus, subtract them, it'll never be you. And it won't be you because you just don't have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tisha is cute, but just from this episode, it's like, it's something missing. You know what I'm saying? And it's that some stars just have and some stars just don't have. It is what it is. I don't know, child. Anyway, so at the beginning of the episode, we get Ken and Trish, the continuation. They fighting in the kitchen, child, breaking up the vases and shit. Anyway, so we get Ken standing up like, motherfucker, you either go sit down, I'ma sit your ass down. And Marquez like, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be different. It's not gonna be different, baby. Anyway, so they don't show the fight. All we see is like the black and then the security and then Marquez kind of stumble out of the house and then Xavier, the son, come down. Now, I do like Marquez more than I like Ken for sure. But Marquez came in that house with a hat on, but he left without a hat on. I noticed that if you go back and watch, when he was standing by that couch arguing with Ken, he had his hat on. But when he twirled around, and twirled on out of that house, that boy was bald head. It's giving Kid might have slammed his head up against that refrigerator. Poor Marquez. I think Ken just mad. Ken, you just trying to show out for Trish so you can get some of that Soldier Boy coochie. I think Ken's jealous because I think he knows that Trish still wants Marquez. And Trish was smiling, skinning, and grinning. Trish, why would you allow that to go down? And your son in the house, the daughter in the house too, right? Because Marquez, is this the same time? No, that was last time. They be doing all types of shit in front of them kids. I ain't even gonna say what I would say because I don't want, yeah. Anyway, the moral of the story is we didn't see the fight. Why would y'all do all of this build up not to show us the fight? At least show us Ken putting Marquez in the headlock or something. Bitch, y'all ain't so, girl, I guess, child. Moving on. So then we go over to Kimmi house or her Airbnb. That's what y'all said. That's what y'all said. Scotty Lots, don't come at me today. Okay, so we go over the light-skinned, bald-head chick house in Kimmi. Ooh, Kimmi so stupid, y'all. So she said she's doing a temperature check with the lady, so she invite everybody out. I did like Kimmy's confessional look. I think her hair was like burgundy and she had on tan or something like that. It looked cute. Okay, so she's getting the girlies together. She said they ain't seen each other since LA. Was that the reunion? Melody said y'all wasn't real friends. She told us that, exactly. So then Kimmi is having like a date night with Maurice. They go out on their little porch area. Mind you, I like the little area. It was cute. It was cozy. I would love to have something like that in my backyard, but compared to LeBrink, the girl from Hard and Hustle Houston, they had the same type of little moment outside. It was so different. I don't want to compare, but since we comparing, exactly. So she starts telling him that she talked to the boys and they're apprehensive about this family business. So they don't tell us exactly what the business is. I'm not sure if is the family business Jordan Restaurant or Jordan Lane, the restaurant. I don't know. But Monster and Jaylin ain't with that shit. Jaylin said no. They don't want him bossing everybody around. You talk too damn much. And Kimmi was like, no, you talk too motherfucking much. Anyway, so he's like, oh, how rude. He don't take accountability for shit. Then they start talking about Jaylin. How Jaylin said he don't see him as a father figure. He never made him feel like he was his son, more like a mentor homeboy. And Marsau is more of a father figure. Kimmi looked like her eyes were watering. I'm not sure if it was the illumination of the fire or something. But in my eye, Kimmi was sitting there like a sad puppy with her little cup and her eyes glistening, waiting on Maurice to say something to make her feel better about herself. That she was waiting on him to say something like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't try to da-da-da-da-da. Baby, I would never make him feel that way. Nothing. Kimmi was searching. She had that same look in her eye when she was up there talking to Claudia and Funky, and they was reading her and Maurice down about him talking about suffering through that cancer, getting her coochie while she had cancer. There was that same pathetic, pitiful look on her face. Kimmi, that is crazy. Ever since season 1, season 2, we've been talking about Monster moving from there, moving here, moving the whole family that he didn't tell you about. You got done raising Jaylin and you signed up to raise his son. His son that you claimed wasn't cleaning up around the house and shit, and Maurice wouldn't do nothing. The whole time, you moving his son in the house and raising another child for him, he was neglecting your son and making your son feel like he was a stranger in his own house. Girl, Kimmi is half 100. I'm sorry. Kimmi dumber than Tisha at this point. Because at this point, and it's all allegedly in my opinion, if Marsau cheating, Maurice is cheating. Both of them probably take care of the finances, but Marsau more than Maurice, because we know that Kimmi was the one with the money at the beginning. I don't know if he making lawyer money. Who knows, child? But Kimmi, you half 100, and then on top of that, you didn't raise his child, got into it with Kiowa. I hope Kiowa will come on to pipe Kimmi right on down. Anyway, child, Kimmy's stupid. We get over to Nell and Chris' house. What was Nell talking about? She was talking about how she's doing this Quality Stars like training so she can get her daycare certified so they can get more funding. They started talking about Destiny. First, she said that Kimmi had called her. Nell, when she said Kimmi called her, Chris was like, for what? They not friends? Because he like, why the fuck Kimmi would call you? Well, if y'all was friends, it'll be normal for Kimmi to call her. Nell, it's giving you lost your only friend on the show because you was trying to be fake. Exactly. But anyway, so they also started talking about Destiny. She said Destiny feels some type of way about her since LA. And she said she was mentoring Destiny and stuff. She said, I used to spend hours counseling and mentoring Destiny. Miss Nell, stop mentoring. Stop mentoring everybody. And then end up falling out with them. I guess, child, because you always side with the men. She did speak on Jaylin. This is my problem with women. And not just because Destiny is dumb. Like, we know Destiny dumb. But outside of Destiny being dumb, I don't like for a woman to think that a man's, his mother or his sister or somebody is going to side with you over their brother or their mama or their son. They not going to do that. I don't care how close you is. I don't care how close Destiny got with Miss Nell. It is so foolish of her to think that she gonna cross her son and tell you something. No, bitch. She might counsel you through it after he break your heart. But that's it. That's it. That's all. Exactly. Y'all been watching Mama D for how many years? Girl, please. Anyway, so they finally get to this dinner. It's G.I. Jane, Trish, Tacky Tisha, I take that back because Tisha got her clothes together. Tisha looked cute at this dinner with this two-piece blue jean with the little black choker thing to go with it. I said, okay, bitch, exactly. She was stepping. Kimmi, I liked Kimmi's jacket. I didn't like her outfit, and her jewelry looked real cheap. Trish had on a bouffant updo braid twist. She looked like one of the Supremes. What Miss Nell had on? Miss Nell had on like some country cowgirl stuff, a blonde Beyonce wig, a cowboy hat. I was like, okay, Miss Nell. So then they started talking about, so as soon as they get there, Trish starts telling them about the Marquez situation. And she like, yeah, because he just walked in my house. Fuck your house, girl. He said that his daughter was at the door and he was helping his daughter bring all of the stuff in the house. And production stopped him to mic him up when he was there. Shut up, Trish. Exactly. Then she started talking about how they got into a fight or whatever. She was smiling. Trish liked it. Trish is the problem. She's a liar. I'm not even sure why Ken is with her. She lied to your face twice. Remember, because at first she said she didn't know Marital. Then she said Marital didn't come to the house. You didn't call her in 2 bold-faced lies. And she probably told Marquez that you couldn't have no kids. Because where the fuck Marquez get that from? We still don't know the answer to that. Exactly. Anyway, what else happened? They talk about Maurice and Jaylin and Marsau stuff. They talked about the, Marsau stuff. They reiterate that the Scots trying to introduce their fake storyline. Then they start asking Miss Nell about what she got going on and about Destiny, because Destiny is missing. We didn't see Destiny or Marital in this episode. I ain't really missed their ass either. You can keep Ren and Stimpy. So then they asked her about the Destiny thing and her having like her grandchild or whatever. So she said that she left LA. That's what it was. She didn't stay and party with them because she had to leave LA because Lance was having a baby. That's when his baby mama was going into labor. And she said she found out at that time, so she didn't know ahead of time. And little Chris had a baby too. But the way Miss Nell was shaking her head, Miss Nell might have known, but I ain't gotta tell y'all hoes. And then they asked her, then Tisha was like, yeah, because you was all for Destiny and Lance being together. That's some fake ass shit that you knew your son was had a baby on the way and you was for him trying to be with Destiny. Miss Nell said, I was for them talking at first and then shit changed. I wonder, did it change after Miss Nell found out her real age or how she acted at the reunion? Because if you recall, when they went on that trip and Miss Nell was we first found out that Destiny and Lance was talking, Miss Nell was still kind of 50-50 and iffy on them talking then. Or y'all think Miss Nell feel like because of the LeBaric drama, she don't want her son involved in it? Because that could get messy, and I wouldn't put my son in danger fucking with a bitch like Destiny with that baggage and your ex-husband a Freemason and he coming at your neck. I don't know. Why y'all think Miss Nell don't want Destiny fucking with Lance? I don't know. But ain't it crazy? Because the mamas act like they sons is the golden child. Bitch, your son just had a baby on me. He got 3 kids. If I'm Destiny, I'm like, you act like I'm the harlot. Which she still may be a hoe from Detroit, but we don't know. Okay. So Tisha started talking shit or whatever and basically trying to bring up shade. So Miss Nell said, okay, well, since y'all all up in my motherfucking business, how y'all feel about that baby? What about that baby? No, she basically was like, so how y'all feel about that interview that Marital did with Harry Hines? Tisha, how you feel, bitch? That's what Miss Nell was giving in her confessionals. Like, you all up in my business, what's tea? Anyway, so Tisha's like, how did you feel about it? Trying to be smart and cute. That wasn't clever. That wasn't an aha. It wasn't shady. You're just trying to deflect. And then Kimmi, here go Kimmi. Yeah, because I mean, if you go get somebody, you might as well get. Basically trying to say the girl ugly and make it believable. And Trish like, if that old, ugly, black and mild Trish, you wouldn't looking so cute on this scene either. So if I was you, I would pipe down. Pipe down. Exactly. Girl, anyway, Kimmi stumbled over it. Tisha was gonna say, yeah, me and my husband addressed that on Instagram Live. Yeah, we addressed the full thing on Instagram Live. And then she in her confessionals like, yeah, so if you want to know how we feel about it, then go check our Instagram Live, because we have always been fully transparent. Ho, what is you talking about? You're being the opposite of transparent right now. You being what's is non-transparent a word? Exactly. Girl, how the fuck, girl, we are on the show. You're supposed to address this on the show. How you gonna tell us to address some shit on Instagram Live? What the fuck is this, Carlos King? You let them get away with this, Mr. King of reality? This was trash. This was trash, bitch. No, we want to know right now at the dinner table what you think about some shit. Not go check my Instagram Live. That's why you can't be the star of the show. Exactly. Girl, as a matter of fact, I wonder on Tisha Tuesdays, are you gonna address it? I'm gonna go over there. Meet me on no. No, because I'll be over there tipsy and I told you how the teabaggers do me. Teabaggers, I'm not here for y'all right now. But this is the prime example why Tisha can't be the star of the show. Because you're in the hot seat. The moment that you're in the hot seat, your shade or whatever your little moments you thought you was going to do, it fell flat. You didn't address anything. It was nothing. Girl, I guess, child. Anyway, she was like, well, it's some stuff going on with Miss Nell and she don't want to address it. They also talked about the NDA stuff and Maurice feeling some type of way because Chris brung up the NDA shit and Maurice said he ain't never talked about Miss Nell or nothing like that. I mean, he ain't never talked about the Fletcher, so he don't know why he got, thrown under the bus. So they did a flashback, but we see in the next episode, Chris Fletcher go deny it. Chris Fletcher, I'm starting to think that everything Lexi said was true. Because I already think you be running around in these streets. Exactly. I don't know, child. That was pretty much it. Tisha was like, well, if we have anything bad to say, or we feel some type of way about somebody, then we're going to come to them face to face. We're not going to say anything behind their back. And then she going to say, and I told Kimmi, I don't know about the Fletchers. Oh, well, why didn't you tell Miss Nell? I thought you said you was going to come to people face to face. Girl, the fact that Tisha and Kimmi are trying to gang up on Miss Nell is insane. And then Trish over there looking awkward and shit. They needed somebody else. They needed more personality in that room. Even if Destiny was there, at least she'd give stank attitude. Ugh, I don't know, girl. Like I said, nobody just has that Kenya Moore effect, that Portia Williams effect. Nobody has that command the room, carry the conversation type of energy. The closest thing they have is Miss Nell, and Miss Nell, she's more of a reactionary type of person. She's not, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, girl. That dinner scene gave me starless. And then towards the end, Tisha gonna say, okay, what's next? What we gonna do next? It was very much cringe-worthy, but we push on, child. Exactly. But still I rise. Go on ahead, whatever your name is. What else we have? We get to Jaylin. He's talking to Maurice. They playing pool. Jaylin is telling us how he's doing this IT work. He has a job offer in Colorado, and he's thinking about moving to Colorado because he's been in Huntsville all of his life. Why do Jaylin talk like that? Is it just me? Or something about his little voice is real. It's like he talk like one of them things on Sesame Street, like Bert and Ernie, them friends. Jaylin got a funny little voice, child. Anyway, so he's talking about how he want to move and get the hell out of here. Maurice started talking to him about the family business. Jaylin's like, no, because it's kind of seeming like a dictatorship. It's just you pointing and bossing us around, and I ain't got time for this shit. I'm a grown man. He was like, kind of like when we was a child, how you used to make me do everything and didn't make Monster do very much. And basically started talking about the favoritism. And he was like, I didn't feel like I was your son, or I didn't get that type of feeling. I said, Kimmi, watching this as a mother, you should feel like shit. And why didn't you notice this? How old is Jaylin? So no, Jaylin came home when he graduated from college. So I'm assuming 21 or 22 or something. I don't know, girl. I don't know. Anyway, so while he's trying to tell Maurice is like, do you feel less loved? Hope that ain't. Anytime you're trying to express yourself to somebody and they're trying to make a point backward, this is not a debate. You're worried about how you look and whether you beat Marsau out as one of the best father figures, and you're not acknowledging what he's telling you. You're trying to discredit it and make your own point. You're trying to make a point to say that, oh, well, you didn't feel less love, but you didn't know that Jaylin was going to say, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I didn't feel like I was your biological blood son. And then he was like, well, did it work? It looks like it worked. You trying so hard to prove your point that you're not acknowledging his feelings. He do the same shit to everybody else. He gonna do the same shit to Marsau. Fuck him. Anyway. So then we get to Will, Chris, and Ken. This was probably my favorite scene out of the episode. So we get to Will, Chris, and Ken, and they start talking about how they got into the fight at the house, him and Marquez. And he said, man, because he just walked in my house. And Will was like, okay. But we find out you wasn't there. So you're getting all of this information from Sharon and Trisha. And she got into it with Sharon. Well, Sharon was a bald head. Sharon was wrong. That's all I'm going to say about Sharon. Sharon was wrong. You're getting some gassed up information from Trish. And she's happy that y'all got into a fight. Even though your ass could have went to jail and lost your little trucking license, your little CDLs. Let me stop saying little CDL. Shout out to my drivers. Exactly. Getting a CDL is a bag. Anyway, so they start talking to him, and basically Ken is like, everything was perfect before he came, and when he not around, everything good. And da-da-da-da-da. First of all, that's unrealistic. He's always going to be around forever. So the notion that you think everything going to be okay as long as he's not around is a problem, because he's always going to be around. You literally are with his wife and his kids. So he going to be around. So you need to either decide whether you going to be in and willing to deal with Marquez or you not. Because you can't be married to her and his daughter is in the house, and you're not going to have some type of contact with that man. That's unrealistic. We're grown. Anyway, I love the fact that Will asked, hey, Will. Hey, Will. My Instagram is JazzYourFavePB. No, okay. Fuck Will. No, I loved Will in this damn episode. He was like, no, you're just trying to fix things. And Ken is a Scorpio. We tend to be like that. I feel like Will was 100% right. I feel like Ken he just don't want to lose. He invested all of this time into Trish. He didn't fought Marquez. He didn't fought his friends. He didn't fought America on the damn TV screen or whatever, and he don't want to lose. I feel like he just don't want to give up on a relationship because he does not want to lose. He want to make it right and prove that he was right, and he invested this time for a reason. I don't think it's all about just being so deep in love with Trish. I don't know. I love the fact that Will was basically telling him the truth, though. Like, if it was me, he said Trish would have been a thing of the past. They was talking about the puzzle pieces and maybe it's a missing puzzle. And he like, no, I could put it's just an extra piece. If it's an extra piece, that means the puzzle ain't fit. I don't know, girl. Don't get me started with the whole puzzle metaphor. The moral of the story is Will was like, that bitch would have been gone, her and her pineapple head. And Ken is sitting there stuck on stupid. Did you see how defensive Ken got though? And no, because it's good. Stop barking all the time. I don't like Ken. I don't care if he with Trish or without Trish. I don't like him. Exactly. I just don't like his energy. I don't know, y'all, but I do talk to a Scorpio now. Do y'all think I should run? I love him. I don't know, but I don't like Ken. I generally, yeah, it's too much. So I love the fact that Will was giving him the truth. And like I said, I seen them on a clip for their podcast, the Wicked podcast. And that's when Ken was barking at him and hollering at the top of his lungs. I love the fact that will stand 10 toes down and look Ken dead in his face and tell him the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. And he don't give a damn if you can holler, scream, kick. Everybody needs a friend like Will. And I didn't really like Will at first, but Will won me over this episode. Ken is lucky to have a friend like Will because of Ken's demeanor and how he always barking and how big he is. I can see how some people will appease him and don't tell him the truth. But you can tell that Will don't give a damn about none of that. I ain't gonna tell you what you want to hear. I'm gonna tell you what you need to hear. Exactly. We all need a friend like Will. Exactly. Shout out to him. So then we go to dinner. It's Kimmi, Tisha, Maurice, and Marsau, the Scottalots. I think they at Kimmi them house. So they immediately start talking about the whole Jaylin thing. And Marsau, when he goes in his confessional, he was like, yeah, I want to talk to Maurice because he needs to know how important it is not to play favoritism when it comes to your kids, because you don't want, you know what I'm saying? The way the other child feels is, like always an issue. So I really love that. It's crazy because in this scene, Marsau was the most reasonable. You can tell the way Marsau was bracing himself to even start talking about it, the expressions on his face. This was probably one of the most serious conversations I've seen Marsau have in a minute. And you can tell how apprehensive and how he was trying to think about his words before he said them, that Maurice is a difficult person to talk to. And he is defensive because as soon as they started talking about the Jaylin thing and the family business and Monster, he was like, well, no, and I had a conversation with him the other day. No, you didn't. You totally negated his feelings the other day. And Jaylin probably just said, fuck it and let it go. Because I'm grown, I don't live in y'all house no more. Anyway, Marsau, he was just like, it's like hard. It's already hard enough to talk to you and tell you something because you're so defensive. And I don't know why he always get them buck eyes like they scaring somebody. Girl, anyway. So Kimmi chimes in though during this conversation and said, yeah, I knew that Jaylin felt that way before Monster came and moved here, that he didn't feel loved by you, or he didn't feel like you were a father figure like that towards him. Maybe he felt like Marsau liked him more and genuinely liked him, and that's why he confided in him. And then Tisha told us earlier that Marsau considers Jaylin like his oldest son, which I thought that was very sweet. Back to Kimmi. Bitch, you mean to tell me before you started raising his son, which what was 6 or 7 years ago, you mean to tell me that whole time you knew that your son felt this way? So Jaylin, this is not nothing new. Jaylin told you how he felt about Maurice, and you continue to be with him and let him do you like that, all while cheating on you and making you have sex when you had cancer? What are we talking about? The fact that Kimmi admitted that, I don't know if she knows that made her look even more crazy and even more of a deadbeat, desperate to be married to a Scott. I don't know. She is despicable, child. She is. Kimmi, if you did all of that on the reunion, and if y'all plan is to prop Kimmi up, Kimmi is not the one. Kimmi is too done. She has fallen from grace. I don't know, because maybe she never was Grace. Maybe she was the side chick and we was all blinded because we thought Kimmi was real in the beginning. I don't know what it is. But Kimmi, that's all I could do is just shake my head and make a face. Ugh. I think I dislike Kimmi way more than I dislike Tisha. At least Tisha coming with the fashions. At least Tisha got the fashions, child. I don't know, but Kimmi is the weakest link. That is crazy. Kimmi literally has reverted into what Tisha was, which Tisha still may be, you know, whatever, but I guess, child. Anyway, so towards the end of their little conversation, this was weird for me. I think the editing was fucked up on this. Because notice towards the end of Marsau and Maurice getting into it, he says, hey, you the golden child, you know, and Monster feels like he's the golden child 2.0, da-da-da-da-da. When they start arguing, the next thing Maurice says is, I don't know where you getting this from. You sound like Chris Fletcher. What? I thought we was talking about Monster and favoritism and stuff. So what does I don't know where you getting this from? Getting what from? What did Marsau say? And why would Chris Fletcher? Maurice didn't talk to Chris Fletcher about nothing. So are y'all talking about the NDAs or y'all still talking about the Jaylin situation? That editing was totally fucked up because I think they jumped to the NDA stuff and must have cut out all of the shit that they said in between getting into it with each other. And then he said, you sound pathetic. And then he was like, you can tell me the truth. And he was like, you think I'm lying? He was like, you always lying. What? I thought we was talking about Jaylin. Did y'all get the transition? Or when was it brought up about the NDAs? What did Marsau say? Who is lying about what? Are y'all lying about the Harry Hines girl? And is that what got cut out? I don't know. Kimmi and Tisha was sitting there on mute. Kimmi's stupid as hell because before they could have started talking about the NDAs, you should have slapped Maurice across the back of his motherfucking bald head for mistreating your son all of these years while you was playing Ain't Your Mama and had to get a damn support animal. Girl, anyway. So that was the end of the episode, child. I saw some people in the comments like, child, this is still boring. Somebody said, just bring on Ariana at this point at a last-ditch moment to save the show. I mean, but no. That would just be so trifling on Carlos King's part. He already got a sketchy reputation. But I don't know if he would want to do that. Considering, I think outside of the karma you'll have for doing Mel dirty like that, Carlos King gets a lot of interviews with the reality TV girls. And I think that would leave a bad taste in a lot of women's mouths if he decided to bring a side chick onto the platform that the wife built. I don't know. Oh, Aria, she did post on TikTok too. Like she was doing the Rashida challenge, like going to the Rashida concert and called Marital. Girl, he was like, huh? He sounded annoyed and over it. I don't know, but like I said, is this why Marital unfollowed Carlos King? Because I told y'all he unfollowed Carlos King and everybody. Is this why? Because he was mad that the Scots taking over the show? Because we didn't see Marital or Destiny. I don't know, child. Anyway, so tell me what y'all thought about Love and Marriage Huntsville. It was cool. It was a little better than last episode. I hope Miss Nell go ahead and drag Tisha ass because the only backup she really got is Kimmi. We gonna see them get into it at the Trisha little cowboy party. Ken, I'm sick of talking about whether or not he gonna leave Trish. Apparently she got that snapper and heat her every night. Exactly. I don't know. Tell me what y'all thought about the episode. It was okay. It was okay. Exactly. I liked Hard and Hustle. Houston a lot better. I like the girlies better. I like the fashions. I like the homes. I like the conversations. I like the snickle and giggles of it all. Exactly. So make sure y'all watch that, friend, because I promise I am definitely going to be reviewing it. Anyway, I love y'all. I will talk to y'all later. Enjoy y'all Sunday. I may come later, but we ain't got no housewives to talk about. Maybe I'll cook or something. What y'all cooking for dinner? Give me some ideas. Exactly. Anyway, I love y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all. I'll talk to you later. Bye, friend.